guys. So we're going to be taking our journal notes. Remember, we're going to kind of do the flipped classroom thing. When you're at home doing your homework at night, that's when you're going to get your notes for your journal. That's where you're going to get your instruction. Um, and then we'll do the practice, what you're used to doing at home. We're going to do that in the classroom. So all of these videos, this is where you write everything down. You want to make your journal so that it is something that you can use. So when I ask you a question, and I will ask you questions about the stuff that's in these videos, so all you got to do is look at it. Your homework is going to be just to take notes. So you won't have any more nights of, I don't understand how to do this, because it's just working with me through the video. Okay. So in our journal, as usual, you know I'm gonna you know what I'm gonna say. First thing we're gonna do is always date and head up our notes. So notes is February 1st, and we are evaluating functions. I'm going to run out of room. I should have an S on that. All right. So what is it we're doing? We've already done a version of this. Remember when we had y equals 2x plus 3? And then we had to fill in the table, given an x of a -2, maybe a 0 and a 2. And we filled it in 2 times -2 plus 3, and 2 times 0 plus 3, and 2 times 2 plus 3, right? Remember doing these, and that gave us our y, right? Because that's what y is equal to, 2 times the x. So if the x is -2, then it's 2 times -2. Let's see, 2 times -2 is -4 plus 3 is a -1. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 3, that's a 3. 2 times 2, 4 plus 3, that's a 7, right? Okay, so we're doing this again, except for it's going to look a little bit different, right? So you notice that when we put in a new x, I changed my x and that changes my y, right? So x is the guy that's in charge. X kind of controls the y. So x or y is a function, there's that vocabulary word, of x. In other words, y gets pushed around by the x. Okay, whenever I change that x up, that forces a change in the y. And how do we write this in notation? Instead of writing all of this, y is a function of x, we say f of x. Okay? And so f of x, that's your y. F of x is just y. So if I had y equals 2x plus 3, now I'm going to write it in function notation, and I'm going to say f of x is 2x plus 3. And f because of the word function, but sometimes they'll use a G or an H or any other letter. You don't have to use F to use function notation. I just need you to know that whenever you see this notation, it's just the Y, okay? So like I could even write, instead of writing X comma Y, I could write X comma F of X, because f of x is a y. All right, so to evaluate one, we're just going to do exactly the same thing we did on those tables. To evaluate a function, all we're going to do is plug in. Now, this might look a little bit funny, but I want you to notice this says f of x, right? And this says f of 8. So they took out the x and they said 8. That's a new way of just doing this table. What was my x? I replaced it with a -2, a 0, and a 2. Well, this time you only have to do it once, but you're replacing the x with the 8. So you're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to say f of 8 is equal to 4 times 8. Took out the x and put in the 8 plus 2. Okay? And that gives you 32 plus 2. 4 times 8 is 32 plus 2. That gives me 34. So f of 8 is equal to 34. And that gives you a coordinate point. The x is 8, and the y, because remember, f of x is my y now, 8, 34. That's my x and y. Okay? All right. What if I have, let's go over this way. And we're going to use a negative number, All right, so, and I have a different letter here. It's H, right? But that doesn't matter. It's still just my Y. All right, so if, let's get that little if then going. If H of X is equal to 4 times X minus 2, what will be H of -9? Then H of -9 is going to be equal to, instead of 4 times X, took out the x, put in the -9, take out the x, -9 minus 2. So that gives me -36 minus 2, which gives me -38, right? So coordinate, my x, my first x is that -9. And my y came out to -38. That is my coordinate point I get from this function. Okay. Let's try one more. What if f of x is equal to 4 times x plus 1? Y equals 4 times x plus 1. Remember, that's a variable, not a multiplication. So I need f of 3. 4 times 3 plus 1. 12 plus 1. F of 3 is equal to 13. So my coordinate x is 3. Y, my f of x, is 13. Okay? All right. Now here's where I'm going to put this question into the Edpuzzle program. And now you're going to do that. So the video is going to pause and you're going to work out this problem. Okay? All right, so you've answered that problem. Let's see if you got it right. So if g of x is equal to 3x minus 5, what is g of -2? G of -2 is going to equal to 3 times -2 minus 5. negative 6 minus 5. G of negative 2 is equal to negative 11. Coordinate, negative 2, negative 11. Okay? All right. I'm going to put this one in. F of x is equal to 3x minus 5. Find f of 2. All right, that problem's done. Let's see if you got the right answer. F of 2 is equal to 3 times 2 minus 5. 6 minus 5 gives me 1. F of 2 is equal to 1. Coordinate, x is 2 and y is 1. Okay? All right, I'm going to add a couple more of these into the Edpuzzle. And you're going to answer them. But for right now, we're going to look at what if I'm looking at a graph? Well, realize that they're always giving me this 6. That's the x, right? If this graph is my f of x, then I've got the x's along here. And every one of these x's, I go up to the red line and I go over. So if I had f of 8, remember the 8 is my x, but f of 8 is my y. So f of 8 is going to be this x going up to my red line. Now where is that equal to y? So that means f of 8 is equal to 3. Right? Oh, I don't want to use red. Right here, f of 8, go over to your y-axis, and it is equal to 3, right? What would f of 0 equal? Well, I don't, right here, going straight up, and I'm already on the y-axis, so I get my answer. So f of 0 is equal to 7. F of 6, up to the red line. That red line's my graph. That's my f of x. Take it over to the y, and I get a 2. So f of 6 is equal to 2. Okay? All right, and we're going to do more of that with tables and more graphs and more practice. But right now, answer your last couple of questions on this assignment. Please make sure that you get all of this information in your journal notes, guys. All right. Bye-bye.